the United States has extended protection to the Philippines' newly discovered natural gas reserves, 98 billion cubic feet of natural gas.
Beneath the shimmering waves of the South China Sea lies one of the world's most valuable energy frontiers. Within the Philippines' 200-mile exclusive economic zone, untapped oil and natural gas deposits hold the potential to transform the nation's economy and energy security. Estimates suggest the Spratly Islands alone could contain over 17 billion barrels of oil, while the broader South China Sea may hold nearly 200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and billions of additional barrels of oil, resources that are as strategic as they are abundant. Beyond the numbers, these waters sit at the heart of a delicate geopolitical puzzle, where energy, security, and international law intersect in complex ways. The United States is quietly guarding one of the Philippines' most valuable treasures, its multi-trillion-dollar oil and gas deposits in the West Philippine Sea. By protecting Manila's sovereign rights, the U.S. is sending its most powerful warships and aircraft carriers to patrol the vast waters of the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ. Across the archipelago, the U.S. is strategically developing bases close to these energy-rich areas. Simply put, the Philippines is sitting on a literal mountain of gold. Within its 200-mile EEZ, the Philippines holds enormous, untapped hydrocarbon resources. And this week, a major breakthrough, a significant natural gas discovery just off Palawan, near the Malampaya gas field in the disputed West Philippine Sea. This is the country's first major gas find in over a decade. And it's not just gas. Condensate, a high-value liquid fuel, was found alongside it. These new resources could be a game changer, helping stabilize the country's power supply and energy future. And the U.S. is playing a key role, actively backing the Philippines in exploring and securing these reserves against Chinese interference. Through strengthened defense alliances, joint task forces, and a firm rejection of China's overreaching claims, the United States is sending a clear message. Coercion won't succeed, and Filipino energy development must move forward. Just last week, the 5th Nimitz-class nuclear-powered supercarrier, USS Abraham Lincoln, CVN-72, was conducting live-fire exercises in the South China Sea, coinciding with Philippine survey and drilling operations that led to the new gas discovery. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy's Tripoli Expeditionary Strike Group, led by the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli, LHA-7, and the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, is actively maintaining security and safeguarding freedom of navigation in these strategic waters. The stakes are enormous. Around 2.8 billion cubic meters, or 98 billion cubic feet, of natural gas was discovered just 5 kilometers east of Malampaya, near Palawan. And according to the U.S. Geological Survey and China's Ministry of Geology and Mineral Resources, oil deposits on the Spratly Islands alone could reach 17.1 billion barrels. Across the Philippines, total hydrocarbon resources may exceed $26.3 trillion, surpassing even Kuwait's 13 billion barrels of oil. The U.S. Energy Information Agency estimates the South China Sea holds roughly 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and 11 billion barrels of oil in proven and probable reserves. The U.S. Geological Survey adds that another 160 trillion cubic feet of gas and 12 billion barrels of oil may still be undiscovered beneath the sea. While Beijing's estimates are higher, they still fall short of China's enormous oil appetite, which is projected to reach 12.8 million barrels per day in 2018 alone. With all this at stake, the United States is doubling down, ensuring the Philippines can safely explore and claim what's rightfully its own, while deterring any attempts to block access to these vital resources. The United States is stepping up to help the Philippines protect its untapped energy treasure in the South China Sea. Trillions of dollars worth of oil and gas that could redefine the nation's energy future. Through stronger defense alliances, joint task forces, and a firm rejection of China's expansive claims, Washington is signaling it will deter coercion and support Filipino resource development, an essential move for the country's energy security. Tensions are rising. A 2023 report by the Washington-based Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative revealed that several countries, including China, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, are moving forward with new oil and gas projects in contested waters. These developments could easily become flashpoints in an already volatile region. Meanwhile, the Philippines has kept a cautious stance, suspending exploration in disputed areas since 2014. But 2024 could mark a turning point. The United States has made clear its interest in the Philippines' multi-trillion-dollar oil and gas industry. Philippine companies holding concessions in the South China Sea are now actively seeking U.S. partners for joint exploration ventures, signaling the start of a potentially historic collaboration. This comes at a critical time. Electricity costs in the Philippines are under pressure from global energy markets, and the country's only indigenous natural gas source, the Malampaya gas field, which currently supplies roughly 40% of power to the Manila metropolitan area, is projected to run dry by 2027. The economic impact could be severe. The opportunity is enormous. Analysts predict that up to $100 billion in investments could flow into the Philippine energy sector in the coming years, particularly from U.S. and Japanese firms, potentially outpacing China amid rising political tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Strengthening ties with Washington and Tokyo could transform Manila into a prime investment hub, while simultaneously advancing its industrial policy to develop its trillion-dollar oil and gas reserves, long-eyed by China. The stakes are high. Between 2018 and 2025, the South China Sea saw multiple standoffs between China, Vietnam, the Philippines, and other Southeast Asian nations over drilling operations. With new offshore projects underway by claimants inside China's sweeping 9-dash line, and Beijing's Coast Guard stepping up patrols in disputed areas, for Manila, the solution is clear. Coordinate closely with the U.S. and its own Navy during exploration missions to reduce risks. The Calayan Group of Islands, confirmed by the U.S. Geological Survey and China's Ministry of Geology and Mineral Resources, to hold 17.1 billion barrels of hydrocarbons, worth an estimated $26.3 trillion, has become a strategic focal point. The Philippines is reinforcing the islands with military bases, preparing to defend its energy wealth while signaling to the world that it won't back down. The next few years will determine not just who controls these resources, but who controls the balance of power in the South China Sea. The U.S. and Philippine governments are putting the finishing touches on a new military runway on Balabac Island, right next to the Philippines' vast oil and gas reserves in the disputed West Philippine Sea. This strategic location is a cornerstone of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, between Manila and Washington. Together, the Philippines, the U.S., and their allies conduct joint maritime exercises in the very waters where these energy treasures lie. Last year, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group joined forces with Philippine and Japanese vessels in the South China Sea in Washington's biggest show of force in the region in years, following a string of tense encounters with China. Meanwhile, the Philippines' natural gas industry continues to make history. The Malampaya Deepwater Gas-to-Power project, located 50 kilometers off northwest Palawan, marked the nation's first major dive into offshore gas production when it began operations in 2002. Since then, it has generated more than $12 billion in government revenue and supplies up to 20% of Luzon's electricity. Now, a major new find, dubbed Malampaya East 1, or MAE-1, is set to usher in the next chapter of the project under the Malampaya Phase 4 drilling campaign, alongside the Camago and Bagong Pagasa wells. Early tests show MAE-1 could flow at an impressive 60 million cubic feet per day, signaling a high-productivity resource comparable to the original Malampaya wells. This isn't just a boost to the country's energy supply, It's a game changer for domestic gas production, securing a cleaner, more reliable power source for years to come. The Malampaya project itself is one of the largest and most ambitious industrial ventures in Philippine history. Led by the Department of Energy and operated by Prime Energy in partnership with Udina Corporation and the Philippine National Oil Company Exploration Corporation, it's a collaboration between government and private sector that continues to pay dividends. Since its inception, Malampaya has delivered cleaner burning natural gas to 4 major power plants across Luzon, generating a combined 3,200 megawatts of electricity. It has slashed the country's dependence on oil imports, provided a stable energy supply from an indigenous resource, and helped meet roughly 20% of national power demand. But time is ticking. The original Malampaya field, a critical pillar of the country's energy security, is expected to run dry in just a few years. That makes discoveries like MAE-1 not just exciting, they're essential. With the potential to produce even more gas, this new reservoir promises to extend Malampaya's contribution and strengthen the Philippines' domestic energy supply for the foreseeable future. The Philippine Navy is stepping up to secure a game-changing discovery, a new natural gas reservoir near the disputed South China Sea that could help the country avoid a looming power crisis and give a major boost to the economy. The newly uncovered field, Malampaya East 1, sits just 45 miles off the coast of Palawan, well within the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. The stretch of sea where Manila has the exclusive right to explore and exploit resources under the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. But there's a catch. Malampaya East 1 lies within the area claimed by China under its sweeping 9-dash line, raising the question, can the Philippine Armed Forces truly protect this vital resource from potential coercion? The answer, officials insist, is yes. The Philippine Navy and Armed Forces have pledged that Malampaya East 1 is fully secure, emphasizing that protection relies on capability and readiness, not just the number of ships or aircraft deployed. Located about 5 kilometers from the existing Malampaya gas platform, the new site falls squarely under the operational oversight of the Western Command, or WESCOM, specifically Joint Task Force Malampaya. This specialized unit is equipped to detect and respond to any threats, including foreign interference. Navy units regularly patrol the area, supported by air and special operations assets, ensuring continuous surveillance and rapid response if needed. The stakes go far beyond energy security. The Philippines is increasingly becoming a frontline state in the escalating US-China rivalry across the Indo-Pacific. Washington is deploying advanced military assets to the archipelago, which sits along the so-called First Island Chain, a critical line of defense that stretches from Japan and Taiwan to the Philippines. Strategically positioned east of the South China Sea, the Philippines overlooks a vital maritime highway that carries roughly 30% of global trade, an estimated $4 trillion worth of goods each year. Protecting Malampaya East 1 isn't just about energy, it's about asserting control over a region that is central to the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. Beneath the waters of the Philippines' 200-mile exclusive economic zone lies a treasure trove of energy, potentially recoverable oil and gas deposits that could reshape the nation's future. Reports from the U.S. Geological Survey and China's Ministry of Geology and Mineral Resources estimate that the Spratly Islands alone could hold up to 17.1 billion barrels of oil. Meanwhile, the U.S. Energy Information Agency calculates that the South China Sea contains roughly 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and 11 billion barrels of oil in proven and probable reserves. And that's just what we know. A 2012 U.S. Geological Survey report suggested there could be an additional 160 trillion cubic feet of gas and 12 billion barrels of oil still undiscovered beneath the sea. The stakes are enormous, and the location is just as strategic as the resources it hides. The waters off the western South China Sea, where China has transformed sandbanks into fortified military outposts, are ideal for stealthy submarine operations, giving naval forces a hidden edge in any potential conflict. U.S. military planners are taking note. The Marine Corps is shifting toward agile, smaller units capable of deploying to remote islands for precision missile strikes, counterattacks, intelligence gathering, or rear support if a confrontation with China erupts. Alongside islands in Japan, the Philippine archipelago is seen as a critical node in what the U.S. calls the First Island Chain, a line of major Pacific archipelagos extending from East Asia's continental coast. This chain is considered the most effective barrier to Chinese expansion and potential invasion. For the Philippines, the reality is clear. Its territorial integrity is under pressure from an assertive China. Recognizing the limits of its own military, Manila has strengthened ties with the United States, relying on Washington's training, equipment, and strategic expertise to safeguard its territory. The Philippines isn't just important to its own security, it's vital to U.S. interests across the Indo-Pacific. As a treaty ally sitting at a critical point in the U.S. defense perimeter, the archipelago anchors a broader network of alliances, stretching from East Asia through the South China Sea and across the Western Pacific. With America's sophisticated weapons, advanced equipment, and combat-ready forces, the U.S. is positioned to deter Chinese aggression, ensuring the South China Sea remains open and secure for all nations. Understanding the significance of these resources requires looking beyond headlines and statistics. How can nations balance energy development with regional security? What role do international treaties, like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, play in shaping access to these resources? Exploring these questions allows us to examine not only the economic and strategic stakes of the South China Sea, but also the broader challenges of cooperation, conflict prevention, and sustainable resource management in a rapidly changing world.